We had one last year with Robertson. Anyway, it's 1-0 to O'Sullivan. Very interesting opening frame. Pang made 50, made the early running. O'Sullivan eventually, he didn't make the clearance, but he potted blue and pink to take the frame. Packed crucible here on the first morning of the World Championship. Of course, the World Championship began in it was actually 1926 when the first matches were played. Moved here to Sheffield in 1977, where, of course, it's made its home and made so many memories for so many people, players and fans included. Pang hoping to add to them, of course. And O'Sullivan looking to sort of top up an extraordinary record that he already has.
Well, that full ball kiss on the green may have tempted Pang to take on this long red to the right corner. Dangerous because the red behind the black and the one above it, both available. This is the problem when you're playing O'Sullivan, because he's thinking, well, if I take it on, it could be my last shot in this frame. So electing to play the safety. Don't blame him at all. But he's got to avoid that red. I think that was the order of the day. Yes, it was an attacking shot to play it, but also very dangerous.
You're never quite sure, are you, how debutants are going to handle it. I'll give you a list of players here. Great players. Steve Davis, Stephen Hendry, O'Sullivan himself, John Higgins, Mark Selby. They all lost their first ever match at the Crucible. Obviously, they all went on to be multi-champions. But other players have thrived. I mean, Terry Griffiths came here and won the tournament. Peter Ebdon on his debut beat Steve Davis.
Yeah, good attacking shot, but easy starter for O'Sullivan.
One.
The two tournaments he has won this season, the Champion of Champions and the Hong Kong Masters, what links them is they're two one-table, big occasion events, big money events. So although in ranking events he hasn't come good, in the sort of more prestige tournaments he has landed two big trophies. But in terms of ranking tournaments, he's only been in two quarterfinals. That's all he's done. So it hasn't been a successful season yet.
I like that word, yet.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it, Joe? If he won this, no one would remember anything else that had happened this year.
Yeah, and he's practiced for this, you can bet your life, and he's looking good. There was a few shots in the last frame that he could have felt nervous about, but didn't. In fact, that final pink he took was missable.
Well, actually, I don't know if he's on this red, actually. I was going to say, Ken Doherty actually missed a much easier pink than that to lead Pang 5-0 in the qualifier, and that's where that match turned around. He was in big trouble, Pang. But this has gone wrong.
Well, that was a terrible positional shot from Ronnie, actually. I'll be very disappointed with that one. And this looks a little slow. Well, only a little slow. I thought it was a lot slower than that, but this table is like lightning. I'm sure he'll hit it this time. But he can see a red full ball.
I guess the red in bulk just complicates things here in terms of the safety.
Re-rack?
Yeah, and that's why they're having a re-rack, because it was going nowhere with the red in bulk. It was just going to be tip-tapping. So it's a long tournament, this, and we've already had a re-rack on the first morning. Isn't it great, though, to be back here at the Crucible? It's not just the players, actually. It's snooker fans all around the world make a pilgrimage here. There's people who come here every year to meet up with their friends. There's Damien Hirst on the right-hand side with Jason Francis, who runs the World Seniors Championship. Damien Hirst, of course, well-known conceptual artist, big friend of Ronnie O'Sullivan, who is, I guess, a snooker artist, isn't he? But yeah, this is such a special venue for so many. Pang, this morning's opening session, they're back at 7 o'clock British time this evening.
Well, pushed a red out, but he's got a good cue ball. Had that cue ball not been quite so close to the cushion, I'm sure Ronnie would have took this on and stunned behind the black. As it is. Well, still could get behind the black. Wonderful pot.
One.
But the wrong.
Ronnie O'Sullivan 5.
Pang, of course, had to come through the qualifying 10 dramatic days. I'm sure you followed them with us here on Discovery Plus. And we had 10 nines on the black. We had Noppin Senkarn beating Zhang Anda, and then Joe Perry on the black against Mark Davis, his great friend who missed the pink to keep his tour card, not only to qualify for the Crucible, but to keep his tour card. And Joe Perry beat him on the black to relegate him. Heartbreaking stuff, really. But for the players who've made it through, great excitement. They got in the draw on Thursday morning. Pang, I'm sure, was excited to be drawn against O'Sullivan. It is the ultimate test against the greatest of all time.
Yeah, and still playing like the greatest of all time. Nice little safety shot that from O'Sullivan, playing it with left-hand side to avoid the double kiss. See an easy red to the left corner. There's a difficult one to the middle. This is so difficult because he can't just drop it in. The cue ball's going into that red above it, so he's got to stun it in. And that made it much more difficult. So an easy starter for Pang here.
Yeah, and the blacks come out into open play as well.
That was so difficult, but never avoids the shot, does he? You could have done with just coming back a little further. Might be slightly hampered by the red. Just working out where the black is going to go once he does pot it, if he pots it. Yeah, just slightly hampered by that red. That's why I said he could have done with coming a little further. Well, he took a long time over that.
Junxu 1.
He took a long time over the red, a long time over the black. He's got to settle.
One.
Well, again, that hasn't gone according to plan. Wanted to be straighter on the red to the left corner. May have to take a different red.
8.
Brendan Moore just doing the honours with the black.
Yeah, I think the first pot was actually a kick, but he didn't have the white cleaned.
Yeah,
9.
and that's okay. Already in the balk area. Making it a little bit easier, this blue.
$40. 50.
These early frames are significant. O'Sullivan, I think most people would agree, is the best front runner we've ever seen. If he gets into the distance, it's very hard to overturn the lead. So that's the danger for Pang in these early frames, that the match just gets away from him.
Well, one thing's for sure, David, you can't afford to miss easy balls like that black.
20.
He was nicely in. These reds surrounding the pink. Once he takes them, makes the pink available.
21. 27. 28.
His longevity is incredible. I mean, he's broken the record he shared with Steve Davis for most appearances, but he's not turning up as a veteran. He's turning up as the defending champion, the world number one. I was interested to hear him in the interview before
34.
play began, talking about playing maybe for another 15 years.
35.
Not just playing, but at the top level, he means. There's his record here. Some big numbers there, isn't there?
41.
Well, if this goes correctly, every chance of making it 200 centuries. He's got to trust to luck a little bit. If he plays this red, he'll be screwing off the other red, trying to play down for the pink or blue, I would imagine. Doesn't want the kiss, though.
42.
That's such an unlucky shot, really. If he doesn't kiss this red full in the face, this one now, he's going to be on the blue or pink. Pressure on this blue, then. And just caught that knuckle, so another chance for Pang here. Oh, he's missed that by a long way. Well, he missed that easy black, so you can say that he's feeling it a bit. Pang Yui. He was 4-0 down to Ken Doherty, as David mentioned. But he got a lifeline. He's not likely to get that from O'Sullivan if he gets in front. Oh, another half chance this. But having missed that last red by so much, you wouldn't fancy him for this.
Except to say he's not been punished. I mean, O'Sullivan, he's early stages yet, but he's not in full flow either. But for his own confidence, you feel he needs to knock this in, really.
He's going to be leaving another red on if he misses it. Unless he gets lucky.
Yes, for all the previews and all the chatter that we had at the media day and everywhere else, you can't predict where the bit of running's going to come to save you, and it did here, for sure. That's the great unknown, really, in snooker, the luck. Pang, one of 5 debutants. 4 of them are Chinese this year. The other one, Jack Jones, will be up this evening. There's the scene here. There's the wall between the tables. It's a different colour set, but it's the same Crucible Theatre in all its majesty.
Well, worth taking on this long red. He could be on the black or the blue. Great pot. Great pot.
One.
Chose to play down for one of the baulk colours, which is not ideal on any of them. Not often you see him with the rest. But make no mistake, he's good with it.
Three. Four.
Made that look easy, didn't he? Digging down into the cue ball, getting the cannon to the red.
Put him 57 in front, so he'll need one more red.
Thanks. 11.
Pang's had a few chances, but O'Sullivan needs this red for 2-0, barring snookers.
12.
Yep, and the crowd letting him know that was frame ball.
Well, the way the first frame began, you'd have thought Pang played here every year for the last 30, but he's now finding out the realities of the Crucible. Intimate atmosphere, the crowd mainly on O'Sullivan's side as well.
90.
Going to come back? No, he's not going to come back. He's going to put his cue on the table. He did have a few openings there, but it didn't come to much, and it's Ronnie O'Sullivan in early control, leading 2-0.